Okay, I pulled the quarter down for this one.
Put the quarter down on that one.
It's a little long. I'll shorten it if I can, but a permission.
No, go for it.
This is about.
I want to hear.
No, just go for it. He'll get home by the time you're.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Auteur. This is auteur created permission structures. A permission structure is the conveyance of examples and parameters in which allows someone to share and accept non-shared ethical frameworks for another person with no cost their own inherent ethical framework. Okay. This brings us to Claire's knee, and Claire's knee is doing this permission structure in a very obvious way, having the character just tell you, talking to the camera, basically, saying, "I'm this good 30-year-old guy who likes teenage girls, but it's okay."
Who wants to fuck children.
Pretty much, but he just doesn't get it. And he finds an ethical way of saying, like, it's okay for him to be attracted to kids, and it's okay to put his hand on the girl's knee and basically brutalize her, you know, emotionally, because it's good for her and it's good for me, and it's like awful. It's like one of the it's why that the new age era in movies was so terrible, because it justified things like this. So that was it.
It extremely tries to justify fucking children.
Yeah,
and
the entire movie is scads, acres and acres of dialogue trying to at least Woody Allen just cut to the chase and said, "I'm dating Mariel Hemingway."
Yeah. At least Woody Allen was occasionally funny and or clever, and I don't know that I found this movie ever funny. And
it was neither.
Absolutely.
God, this guy just, everybody just goes on and on and
gorgeous.
On.
Bippity, 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 bip. I know it's top.
Bippity, bip. And it's all to, like you said, build this moral framework where it's like, well, I'm not really doing this. I'm just doing this as an experiment. I'm doing this to follow
what a great guy I am. And
to show what a great guy I am, because I can do this. It's just like this giant facade of rationalizations that we had to listen to in excruciating fucking detail. It's like I said, at least Woody Allen just like, oh, look, he's dating Mariel Hemingway.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, thank God, that saved us a bunch of fucking time.
I sent this text to my friend while I was watching it. I was like, oh my God, this movie. There's a 5-minute scene of a 37-year-old man explaining why he deserves an 18-year-old woman because the feeling she disturbs in him. I have some kind of claim on her, a claim born from the very strength of my desire.
That's exactly.
They have never spoken.
It was fucking bonkers.
It was.
They've never spoken at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And what's even crazier about it? Oh, I think
it's.
Hold on, Tad's out. Wait.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yes, that was a little bit.
And then he just sits there. What?
Tad, you're cutting in and out. Start again. Start again with outrage, please.
He was sitting there in that outdoor thing, and he just puts his hand on her leg and just holds his hand on her leg.
Right.
It's just like,
and their tears are pouring down her face, and it's like,
right. She's so upset because he's like, your boyfriend's cheating on you with this guy, and it's just like, please stop, just let it go. Like, you absolute dickhead.
What's weird is the setup is like he starts, you know, he goes there and he's hanging out. And the
mom meet cute.
Well, yeah, the meet cute.
Ridge.
But the younger girl, the younger sister, the one who has the Corsican features, he calls it.
It's a meet.
Anyway, I guess while he's glitching, I'll just talk. You know, she's pretty cute and she's into him, and that kind of go on hikes, and it's a lot of fun, right? But as soon as as Claire shows up, who is this statuesque surfer girl,
Laura.
Yeah, Laura.
Out the window, basically. Yeah, Laura. Yeah, out the window.
Yeah, and what also went out the window was this whole thing about, like, you know, not being moved by these attractive women and so on and stuff. It's like, oh yeah, as soon as he looked at her knee, it was all over when she was picking the cherries off the tree.
Right.
Then he had to come up with a whole new justification for what he was doing. And the whole time I'm thinking,
the actor who plays Laura is older than the actor who plays Claire.
Is that right? Because boy, she's got a 14-year-old vibe, that's for sure.
Right.
She's 16 in the movie,
and the girl who plays Claire is like 16 or 17.
No kidding. I thought she was about 20. Holy moly. Huh. I
Yeah,
just kept thinking, what if your fiance was here? Because he kept saying about how he was doing this to prove how loyal he was to his fiance. It's like, yeah, I'm sure she'd be all fine with all this shit you're pulling.
I thought Aurora was his fiance to begin with.
Yeah,
Almost.
it was unclear. I mean, the way he glommed onto her.
No, they used to have a relationship.
Yeah.
right.
They're platonic friends, which is kind of worse. Although
They're platonic friends, even though he touches her constantly.
The
in
way
the
he
most
glommed
sexual
onto
way
her
possible.
so much. Yeah.
Well, we're not French, you guys.
This film proves that fact that we're not French.
I don't know what that.
Yeah,
Who
if I was hanging out with a French person who did this shit, I would punch them in the
Who
face.
saw? Remember?
Do not fucking
who
touch me like
Blame it
that.
on Rio.
Right?
Anybody
Blame it on
remember
Rio?
that?
Oh,
Blame
you
it
want
on
to talk about
Rio?
permission structures? That film was sick.
Like this is again. It's just these series showed me movies that haven't aged well.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, I don't think you can find it anywhere. So
And again, like Blame It on Rio is just a dumb, stupid teen sex comedy from the mid '80s. This movie's in the fucking Criterion collection.
yeah,
And I get that Eric, what's his name? Eric Rohmer, who's the director? of this?
Rohmer, yeah.
Éric Rohmer.
Yeah, like seems to be. I think it's the only one of his movies I might have seen. He seems fairly well regarded.
He's very well regarded.
Yeah, I'm watching this, trying to figure out what I mean. Other than it might have been extremely. Maybe it was extremely provocative for 1970. I mean, I don't know what the word would be to describe it in 2024, other than kind of icky. But
Gross.
Yeah, gross.
like again, like the scenery is gorgeous, but what is this, fucking Lake Como, right?
Yeah, the opening shots when he's on the
No,
boat.
it's near Geneva. It's
Near Geneva. It's an
Melbourne.
alpine.
I
Like,
mean, like this shit is all like, wow,
Beautiful.
that's
like Tahoe, but prettier.
I was regretting it was in like Academy format.
But then back to
If ever a movie disturbed
It
Which
why
was
is
shot in
16,
16 millimeter.
at
Yeah.
a certain point, the
Look
jibber
good.
jacket starts. It's this endless justification for absolutely
Mr.
wretched
Allen.
behavior by a creepy dude.
Yeah, I had a theory watching it the second time because I really wanted to kind of get the whole last speech down to confirm what I was talking about. You could interpret this film in a different way. Aurora, his platonic friend,
Yeah.
is she real?
Huh?
Oh yeah.
Oh, this is Shutter Island.
Yeah, exactly. This is Shutter Island, and she's like a figment of his imagination.
Aurora told me to do this.
Exactly. It almost felt like that. You know?
Yeah.
There's so much of her like pushing him
Oh,
to
yeah.
be with these
What you're
women.
saying is
and it's
beautiful.
like,
Uh,
stop.
I
Yeah.
guess here's the
Stop.
question.
Stop.
Could you make this movie the exact same movie if the two girls were 20 and 21? I mean, it would still be creepy, maybe less creepy?
Well, if
Yeah.
they're over the age of consent, it wouldn't be that creepy.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is
And,
that
and I
20
think,
consent in
well,
France.
in France, that they both have the age of consent.
sure.
I'm not sure what the age of consent is.
Right. They also
It's-
have
it's like
consent
14.
in Arkansas. So
Yeah, I mean,
True.
And in Germany, it's 16.
15 in Germany.
15?
oh, thanks, Chris.
Yeah, wait.
That's-
Yeah. Germany's a lot like the South in some
Well,
ways.
I mean, definitely different cultures have different standards on this, like age of consent thing, and different laws,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what French people in Switzerland, I don't know what laws apply to
Well,
them.
I mean, what's that? Dangerous.
There's no laws in Switzerland.
Well,
That's why Roman Polanski lives there.
Right?
well,
How
there's,
much, how much Nazi money do you have? That's what the law is.
there's also
Like,
there's a lot of like new age gobbledygook in this. This is like
there's a lot of new age gobbledygook.
I know this. No, just using it to justify perving on teenagers. We can use it new age gobbledygook for anything, and this is one application of it, basically.
Well, but Dangerous Liaison was like a similar thing, right? Like Malkovich is effectively like, I'm going to perform this experiment and basically end up ruining this woman's life. It's beyond my like. There are other movies that are like this, where sort of a semi-reprehensible person announces to the audience, "I'm going to go and do a social experiment on this unsuspecting girl
And destroy this girl. Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's
Yeah,
also, it's very
In the
much
Company of
like
Men comes to
Assad.
mind.
Right.
It's what, Jim?
It's very much like Assad. All of his stories are pretty much an older guy corrupting some younger person. And there's
Right.
like prostitutes edging him on, and these old ladies, are like, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, right. Being the Aurora.
Well,
Someday we'll pick Cello.
we were going through a phase in cinema where we were getting close to that. Remember, like Pretty Baby, like in their late 70s or
Louis
early.
Malle, 1976.
Yeah, and things like that. There are films where that's like, oh, teenage girls. Okay, I guess they're fair game.
Louis Malle,
Yeah.
French.
Yeah.
Well, Bertolucci made the one where the mother gives the kid a blowjob, right?
Yeah. So it's
Oh,
So,
right.
so did John Waters.
yeah.
Well, John Waters invented teabagging.
Oh Lord.
Didn't he?
They don't talk
Yeah,
much
like,
about
so like I
exhibit.
said, like what I'm trying to say, I was trying to separate the okay, there's something about the subject matter of this movie that's not aged particularly well. So then I go to, well, what else is it offering? And
Nothing.
well, the argument we're making at the beginning is yes, Woody Allen made many problematic movies, particularly as he got older and the girls got younger. But
Right.
the writing is still pretty fucking, admittedly, pretty fucking clever a lot of the time, and the acting's really good. It was
Go watch Bullets Over Broadway. Like
sure.
Woody Allen can write a fucking movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching this going, well, what is this movie bringing to the table artistically that I'm missing because I can't get past?
Nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's where I'm like, other than the scenery, like I didn't feel like it was shot particularly well. I mean, I guess the acting's all right, but I didn't think the writing was all that clever either. But maybe it's just because I can't.
It's overwritten. My God, it's just
Stopping for speeches all the time, which is it's very clunky. However,
Also, July 1st in the south of France, and they're wearing like full length coats and like headscarves and stuff. It's like, what the? No, it's hot there. Like,
but it's hot, but it's high up. It's alpine. It's like
they're not really in the south of
yeah,
France.
yeah, exactly.
Still, it's hot there.
It's
Like,
hot.
It still gets
Unless their
hot.
cherries growing, it's hot there. It's
But
like
it's also like they're decent
It's
human
on a
beings.
layer.
yeah.
Chris, to kind of address
there's no decent
what you
human
just
beings in this
said.
movie. What the fuck are you talking about?
Or
Jared?
tasteful.
You know what I
They
know
don't wear
who was good in
tracksuits.
it? Chris, you know who I thought was good in it was the kid that played Laura, the younger.
Yeah, I actually
Yeah,
thought
she was quite good,
in the
yeah.
movie.
She's good, and she had gobs of dialogue to remember in scenes without cuts.
Mhm.
And she not only remembered it, but I mean, her acting is good.
Oh,
Her
I
emotional.
agree with you.
Also,
she
her-
was maybe my favorite character in the movie.
Yeah,
The
me
first
too.
or second scene
Here.
with her at the table
Mhm.
where she's just like, oh, everyone wants to remember, you know what I'm talking about? Like that whole scene where she's just sitting there at the table talking to them
Mhm.
and then eventually just gets up and walks away.
Yeah.
She's just like,
Yeah.
There's a point just
like,
to underline that what makes her great is actually her physical presence. She knows how to get up and move around in the frame much better than anybody in the movie. Like
Yeah.
most of the characters stand there like potted plants and give their lines, and she's walking, and curling, and doing stuff, and very natural.
Yeah, good point. Good
Yeah,
point.
that's one thing that's made her stand out in the rest of the cast in this one is that she's actually she had a lot to do and she did it, and that's great.
I have a hypothetical for you guys. It's like there's a picture behind Chris right now. I don't know what the name of the lead actor is in this.
French Warren Beatty.
There were many people in this movie I wanted to give a haircut to, and he was definitely tops on the list.
Uh-huh.
I just didn't find him appealing at all, and it was partly because of his character and the stuff that was pouring out of his mouth in a torrent. But just imagine, what if it was Jean-Pierre Léaud or Alain Delon or somebody like that? What if it was a better looking, more charismatic guy?
This is Alain Delon. This would be a whole different movie, man.
I don't think
Right?
Alain Delon would be in this movie though.
Well,
Like,
You would understand how he would become the center of the attention of all the female characters.
Exactly. This guy just didn't have that at all. It was just like he was just a lech, and I couldn't imagine these girls even like responding to him.
apparently all you needed in the 70s was a fucking beard.
Right.
And
And a fast line, and be the only guy around.
That's true. Is the isolation, right?
And again, I mentioned Warren Beatty flippantly, but I think to myself about a movie like Shampoo, which came out in '75, about another sort of borderline lech at the center of a bunch of attractive women. But I think Beatty knows he's the asshole in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think he knows.
yeah, this guy doesn't know he's.
I don't
Because
know
this guy
if I
takes
know
pains
he's
to tell
Jack.
you he's not the asshole.
Yeah.
That's what the movie's about. I'm not being an asshole right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have
okay. This is a stupid theory, but
It's a Reddit "Am I the asshole?" post.
Yeah.
And the answer is,
Right.
in my opinion, no.
Hey, the normal
Like-
dog. Totally normal dog.
a normal dog. There you go.
Oh, there it is.
But this one also, this is a dumb theory that you saw his haircut, Jerome's haircut in this thing, right? So
Jerome.
this is set in 1970.
He is a haircut. That's
he
all
is.
he is.
He is. This is 1970, and No Country for Old Men was set in 1980. So this is Anton Chigurh, the early years, right?
We're back to Chigurh.
Exactly. Since how he's got his big start, right?
That's fucking
Wow.
funny. All goes
Whatever it
back to
translates from French
Chigurh.
from friendo, I think is.
We haven't heard.
He's just gonna show up and
we have
flip,
not
he's
heard
gonna
from
flip a
the first-
coin. He's gonna flip a coin to see who he fucks.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jim, you have a corner.
I enjoyed it. I mean, you know, morals to one side. We've watched a lot of questionably immoral stories.
Oh, for
Give
sure.
you that. I'll give you
Often
that.
picked by Jared.
Chosen by me. But you know, I remember two things. When I was getting my master's degree, I found out from one of the undergraduates that she'd slept with this older math professor, and I was sort of shocked by it. And then it was mutually consensual, I assume, but
Sure.
she defended it. You know, it's like I should be able to fuck whoever I want, and I'm like, oh, okay. It just seems kind of creepy. You know, you're barely out of high school.
That's
But,
Karen Allen in Animal House with Donald Sutherland.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know. I found it an interesting movie anyway.
I
It was his other movies. I think I've seen one other Rohmer flick, and I'm just trying to remember which one it was. But he tends to do these very abstract sort of tableau talk fests is pretty much what he's known for. He was a critic. He was part of he was older than most of the new wave directors.
He's part of that whole thing. He's part of the whole Cahiers du Cinema. You know,
Yeah,
thing.
but he was like almost a generation older. So than Godard and Truffaut.
Makes it even more gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Anyway.
Okay, so what about Jared's corner? You picked this thing.
Should we ask the dog first? Looks like she had something to say there.
Oh, wait. Yeah, ask the dog.
What did you think about the movie?
well, you've seen this, obviously. You probably own it.
Sorry, that's the clip.
I don't own it, but I saw this.
Oh, I thought we meant the dog owned a copy.
Yeah.
Oh, the dog owned the copy.
Yeah.
Let's see the dog's knees.
Yeah,
They're busy.
I don't own this. I saw it in film school. You know, I think you guys are judging it on a very like surface level, and you're missing a lot of the nuance and poetry that is in this picture, to be honest.
Help explain it to us then.
Yes.
Well, I think that what you call, I think what you call
care.
like, I think what you guys are calling like drivel or overwritten is like how the French speak, I think is just so poetic. I think that I really like the dialogue. And I also think this guy is very attractive. I'm not homosexual, but I find him very attractive.
I am, and no, he's not.
Well, you know, to each their own. But yeah, I mean, I understand these girls are young, but I think there's also like there's something about the knee itself that is innocent in a way.
Good looking knee.
There's
Chris,
something
stop!
about,
You're turning me on, man.
you know, and I also think that I think it is gorgeously. I think it's gorgeously shot. I think the photography. I love the 4:3 in a real way, not the trendy way that everyone's doing it now.
16 millimeter. They keep saying that over and over again. I'm sorry.
No, that's even more impressive, to be honest.
Oh, weird. Scott's got a whole thing about that.
It's really good looking for 16 millimeter. It looks great.
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
and I do think all the acting is quite strong. I think the characters are well developed. I don't know. There's something underneath this thing. It has like a pulse, a life to it that I think maybe everyone's missing here. I get that on the surface it's like, oh, that's creepy, but also it's not American, and also this was the 70s, and also there's a reason I think that this is still heralded as a important picture, and I'm not just liking it because of that. I like it because I think it has like a vibe to it. It has like a feel to it that I think is really nice. I'm not condoning, some of the behavior of the characters in this picture, but I do think that it's a well-made picture. I think that it's really sort of beautiful as a film. I don't think that, like, judging the morality of the characters, well, that's, I don't know, that's the story, that's the writing. It doesn't, to me, that doesn't mean it's a bad picture. That, you know, I mean, there's despicable things done in Fight Club. We just talked about last week. Those characters are fucking horrible.
This is what Scott
But
talked
you're-
about. We
No,
all
right,
have
Jared, when I'm talking about the permission structures in this film, is they were valid in 1970. And the people said
But-
19
but-
saw it. Hold on, let me finish. They saw it and said, well, this was a great film because this guy's talking about, you know, these things within the parameters of what people accepted back then. We don't accept them now. It's not a knock on the film. It's simply,
Sure.
I'm kind of amused by the fact that it's so blatant now because it's
Well,
aged in some way.
So let's add to, you know, and perhaps you're not wrong, and
Mhm.
perhaps let's add to that and say that this filmmaker wrote a movie about a woman's knee rather than, I mean, this isn't an explicit or
Claire's
exploitative. Right. It's not Claire's tit. It's not Claire's labia.
Yeah,
It's
that would've been a movie.
I'll give you that.
it's Claire's knee. There's something about it. I
I would
mean,
have liked it better if it was Claire's tit or Claire's labia. Like just go all the way. Like, the problem is, I feel like this movie.
well, sometimes
is,
subtle is better. Sometimes less is more. And sometimes,
I
like,
feel like this movie is trying to split the difference, and it doesn't work on that level.
Well, that was part
I
of
feel
his-
like I feel like this movie is smart, and I appreciate it for that.
I feel like this movie thinks it's smart, and that's different.
that was part of this guy's elaborate justification was, you know, not so much that how far he took it, but that when he was done, he was like, I'm satisfied. I've done what I needed to do by
Yeah, and I can't
touching your
condone.
knee and then
You don't
kissing
say
the
it
other
or don't.
girl.
Yeah, like
The
the
experiment is over.
but there's even a joke, you know, in the middle of the movie where she tries to hand him a lemonade and she moves it
There's
so
a
he'll
joke in this movie.
try and touch her knee, and he almost does, and he falls and he doesn't do it. But you know, this movie is subtle. It's soft. It's quiet. You know, and those kinds of things I appreciate just as a viewer of cinema. And
Yeah.
I think this movie is cinema. No, I don't think it's okay for like 30-year-olds to like try to, you know, bang
37.
16-year-olds or whatever. But again, this is a different time. It's a different culture.
That's the argument I'm making. You know, it's like, although I saw a thing on Twitter, there's someone put up a bit of footage of Lea Seydoux doing hot yoga for the movie Beast.
Oh my
And
God.
the guy-
She's I want to marry her.
Yeah, I know. And so the title on top was
Yes, Emperor
"Women are all
Ring.
beautiful. French men all need to be in jail." It's like, that's true. Some kind of proves that.
Anyway, I just love how I think I was when I first saw this movie, what I was most fascinated about is what you guys are totally, you know, capping on, which is that I was like, how can the French take the most like sort of mundane subjects and the way they talk about it? It sounds like poetry. So I just love their language. I love the way
Let's talk
they
about Proust, you know,
talk
and
about
the
things.
Madeline, you know.
Like
You know,
they're just talking about like normal shit in this movie that is maybe not that interesting, but it sounds lovely. And to me, I was like, that's really fucking cool.
well, you know, considering you don't speak French, right?
No,
Well, you know, that's the thing I think is missing, and probably for all.
I do in my movie, which you
Except for-
guys will see
except
next year.
Yeah, I can't wait. Except for Jim, I don't think none of us speak French, so it's like maybe it's some of the subtleties we're missing.
because I'm reading the
They
subtitles.
do like to talk. I mean, I watched a lot of French television the last time I was in Europe, and there are shows where like 3 or 4 people get together and just talk about like what's in the news, and they go on.
Like
and
this,
on.
it's like
There's
this show, except-
nothing happening. It's just
Well,
people
like-
sitting around a table. It's like Dick.
Actually, I
Tracy.
just had a thought to compare this. This might be a good double bill with Alfie, which we also saw
Yes!
as a group
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So, you know, which is not the same thing, but
Well,
it's an
But I
amazing-
don't
you- I-
say it's-
and I-
it's the same thing.
I
It's
don't-
just that she's a little older.
I think the filmmakers know Alfie's the asshole.
and I
Yeah.
think that I think that this
Yeah, this
movie,
had that Woody Allen thing where it was like the director thinks this guy is cool.
I don't know. I don't
That's
I
why
don't know
it
about
felt-
that. I don't know about that, John. I don't know
that's
about
why-
that.
you think it was a
I-
condemnation of this guy? Because
I don't know either. I think it's a gray area. I think that it's I
asking
don't
the questions.
I think
right.
the movie is
I
trying to
think
be
I think
really
I think that this guy is not
objective.
evil nor good. I think that Éric Rohmer is okay with being like, listen, this is the character, we're putting it out there. You
I
answer the
agree
question.
with
Like,
you on that.
you're not good or bad.
Yeah,
And
it's-
I think honestly, that game that they play, I think they're both lying to themselves. And that's, you know what I mean? Like, and whether
Right,
that's good or
right.
bad, it's probably bad.
Well-
But like, I don't think that they're, I think it's one of those rare movies where they're not judging anyone. And so I
okay.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Should
Also,
be.
I agree
contemporary
with you that this-
contemporary reviews of this film back in 1970. I read a few of them. Nothing we talked about is mentioned at all. They're just like,
What were they focusing on
they were
then?
focusing on how the great the performances were and how interesting he was what justifying this little game, and it was taken at a real like the artistic
Sort of at face
value of the
value.
thing, and exactly.
Well, yeah,
Which
I mean,
nothing-
post Me Too, it's like,
Well, it
No
could
one,
be
no one
crazy to see a movie
commented
like
on the
this.
morality of the whole
Opera.
thing. It's like very strange. It's but
What,
then again,
Jim? You got drowned
Could
out.
be the plot of an opera. It's almost like Così fan tutte, you know.
a little bit.
Ah.
Let's do this, you
Uh-huh.
know.
All right. Well, I guess we can probably go to the cards at this point. What do you think?
I like it. I like it.
Griselda would be another thing, which
I
is
like it a little better given the conversation that we
I
did.
agree. I agree with John. I'm kind of 50-50 now.
I went. Jared took me from here to here. 'Cause I think he made some good points.
Yeah.
Points, but
Yeah.
I'm still, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good enough.